Hello, hello. Sorry, I think 2 minutes late. I was trying to figure out how to, still learning this whole YouTube situation. What's up, guys? It's Tuesday. My name's Labrie Jones, also known as the Remote Work Queen, and I am here to answer your questions about working remotely. I'm going to the Instagram post because I always start with those questions first, but a little bit of background about me. I've been working remotely for about 13 years, 13 or 14 years. Gosh, my first remote job was in 2008. So 13 years. I worked remotely as a customer service rep for Toys R Us. And then I worked remotely from home as a customer service rep for, American Express. One of the best jobs I've ever had was working remotely for American Express. Y'all, they paid me well. I was actually in their first class of remote customer service reps. They had just started doing remote customer service, and I was in that first class, which is pretty dope. We did like 8 weeks of training, and then we picked our schedules. I had the night shift, so I would leave. I had a full-time job. I had a full-time corporate job, and I would leave work, come home, feed my kid, and then get on the phones for American Express. Crazy. But yeah, that's me. And maybe in 5 years ago, so in 2016, I took a group of people around the world for a year. And a lot of people were interested in doing something like that, but they didn't have remote jobs. And so I started sharing some content to just here and there, giving people tips about how to work remotely so that they could do something like that, go on a trip for a year. And I realized like a lot of people need that help. And so I started sharing more information, more stuff. And that turned into me offering a course. And now I've really kind of leaned into helping people work remotely. Hi, Alicia. I do not offer resume refresh or cover letter services, but there are some people that do. If you go through my reels on Instagram, and I can post a link in here somewhere, I shared a list of people that do that. That I follow on Instagram. Resume Addict's one of them. Not Your Mother's Resume is another. I can't think of the rest of them. Ashley Cash. But there's a list of people that I've shared a few times on Instagram that do offer those services. And I can't wait to get this community up and running because that's something that we'll offer in the community. We'll offer contacts for people that do those things at a discounted rate in network. Let me turn my desk light on. I feel like I don't have any light in here. Give me a second, y'all. Turn my light on. Do I even know how to work this light anymore? I don't ever use it. Is that better? Yeah, that's a little bit better. All right, so that's that. And every Tuesday, I try to do live Q&A where I come and answer questions that you guys have about working remotely. If you have followed me for a while, since before I started doing this, you will know I'm pretty much an open book. You can pretty much ask me damn near anything. So even if you have questions just about my life here in Tulsa, whatever you want to know, ask me. And if it's not your business, I'll say that and we'll move on. It's all good. So I'm going to start with the questions up here. I have 30 minutes. Let's see how many minutes I got now. I owe you guys 2 because I came 2 minutes late. So I have 26 minutes. All right, starting with the first question on my Instagram post. Have you heard or know anyone that has used the Google certificate program for project management? And do you think it would be helpful? Hi, In My Travels. Thank you for saying that I'm amazing. I think you're amazing. Thank you. So the first person, Mama Bear 29, asked me if I know anyone that's done the Google certificate. Is my music loud? I'm sorry, guys. I was cleaning up. I'm about to start cooking dinner. The Google certificate program for project management. Do I know anyone that's used it? No, I don't. If any one of you have used it in the comments, drop a note. Let us know. Do I think it would be helpful? It's a good question. Do I think it would be helpful? I'll say this. I don't know enough about the course to speak on the Google certificate course specifically. All right. So let me put that disclaimer out there. I'd love to do a little bit more research. I actually, the last time someone mentioned that, I made a note to see if I could reach out to Coursera or Google and see if I can kind of talk to them and maybe invite them to a live session to talk about that course for project management. If you don't know what we're referring to, Google, through something called Coursera, offers a course teaching people how to do project management. And I want to be very clear, there's a big difference between this project management certificate and a project management certification. Okay. So this is really training. This is really a training, but this is not the PMP certification. The PMP certification is only offered by Project Management Institute. That's really a course to kind of get you some exposure to project management from what I understand. Let me add that disclaimer, from what I understand. But if you are going to invest in project management certification, no company is going to ask for that. No company is going to ask for that. They're going to ask for a PMP. And PMP stands for Project Management Professional. That is a designation. It's like the official designation. It's like the project manager's version of the bar, of passing the bar, right? And that is only given by one organization, and that organization is called the Project Management Institute. So I just want to be clear that this project management certificate is more of a course that teaches you about project management. It is not something that gives you the project management designation, certification, professional designation. Just want to be very clear about that. So I don't know enough to know if that specific course is helpful. What I will say is if you have no exposure to project management and no training on it, it may be helpful for you to take a course, to take a few classes, just to kind of get it under your belt and get some learning. And you can include that in your PMP application when you apply to get certified as a project manager, to get a PMP certification. That might be helpful. It's really going to be up to you. I didn't take any courses. I took not one course to become a project manager. Not now class did I take to become a project manager. But as I said in my project management video, if you guys have watched the video on how I transitioned into project management, my way is not the only way. So I think you've got to decide what's best for you, what you think you'd like to gamble on, what you think you'd like to invest in. I see nothing wrong with taking some classes, especially because project management is such a competitive field. Because I say this a lot, it's a very generic profession. Project management in education is not really that different from project management in technology, not really that different from project management in healthcare. We do the same work across industries for the most part. So it's decently competitive because people can move across industries and the barriers to entry are pretty low. That was a very long answer to say that I think you've got to make that decision for yourself. I'd love to talk to the people at Coursera to see kind of what's in that certification. But I want to tell you, if you're looking to get the official letters behind your name that some companies do look for, that ain't it. Okay. It's like that. I think that Coursera course is almost like getting an associate's degree in project management, almost like that, but it is not the certification that companies usually look for. They look for the PMP. Okay, let me get back to the Instagram questions. The next one is from About Loria. Do you have any recommendations for resume and LinkedIn profile assistance? I don't know if you're the same person that asked that on here, but yes, I have some recommendations. I don't remember them off the top of my head. There is an Instagram post that I will link in the description where I shared quite a few of those folks that I recommend for resume services. The ones that can pop in my head right now are Resume Addict and Not Your Mother's Resume and Ashley Cash. They're on Instagram. Again, I'll post a link to a previous post I made where I recommended a bunch of people. I'm a senior that is retired and I'm looking for remote jobs. Could you tell me how to make myself stand out? Because there are many companies that aren't hiring seniors. Ronnie Mason, this question has kind of come up before, like the whole, your question, in my opinion, is two parts. How do I stand out? That's one. And how do I address ageism? I can answer the first one. I cannot answer the second one. To be completely clear and transparent, I don't have a background in HR. I don't have a background in human resources. I'm not skipping your question. I'm answering the questions that are on Instagram first, and I'm answering them as I see them. So I'm not answering these questions yet. I'm getting to them if we have time, but I always post on Instagram first. and say, drop your questions here and I will answer those first. So I'm answering the questions on Instagram first, not skipping your question in my travels. Just focused on the ones that people asked me earlier today. Okay, so back to this. Full disclosure, I am not, I don't have a background in HR. My background is in finance, and then I moved into project management. That's my background. So I'm not exactly, okay, I see that you posted your question on Instagram. As I said, I'm answering the questions in the order that I see them. I answered the question from Mama Bear, I answered the question from About Laura, and then Ronnie Mason. So if your question's up next, then we'll get to it next. Cool? All right. Girl, give me some patience now. Slow down. Give me some patience. Let's see. Back to this. Okay. So I don't know a lot about ageism. I have not done that research. I have a good friend who has been in HR for a number of years, and she and I have been talking about it. So I am doing some research and looking into how to address ageism. And I'm trying to figure out a way to provide some content because this question has come up a few times. So I'll say this, I am not qualified or equipped to speak about ageism. I am equipped to speak about standing out on your resume, okay? So one of the things I talk about all the time to stand out on your resume is to make sure that your resume matches up with the job posting, right? So we don't sling stale resumes. So if you're having trouble with your resume standing out, I want you to make sure you're doing a couple of things. One, I want you to make sure that your resume is short and to the point. It's not 5 pages, 2 pages max. If you can get it down to 1, you're golden, right? The second thing I want you to do is make sure that your resume identifies your accomplishments and not just the tasks. So a lot of times people will look at their job and say, well, as a contract administrator, I reviewed contracts, I ensured compliance, stuff like that. And my thing is, duh, if you're applying for a job in your space, they know that you did that. So if I'm a project manager and I say that I manage project budgets, manage project schedules, manage project teams, duh, of course I did. I'm a project manager. Like, I don't need to list those tasks. It's more compelling if you list your accomplishments, right? So tell us what you created, what you developed, what you processed, right? So every job has KPIs. Every job has basically a measure of success in that job, right? So if you're a contract administrator, do you have a certain number of contracts you're supposed to review, right? Do you have a goal for how many contracts you're supposed to close out? If so, say that in your accomplishments, right? So don't just list out your tasks. Make sure you're listing accomplishments, and as much as you can, try to quantify those, right? So, within a 6-month period, or I closed an average of 20 contracts in every month, right? So list out your accomplishments. That's one way to stand out. A third way to stand out is to make sure you're highlighting your skills and not just technical skills, okay? Make sure you are highlighting your soft skills. And the difference, who knows the difference between technical and soft skills? So technical skills are the skills that you learn on the job, basically, right? You either learn them on the job or you learn them through your education. So a technical skill for a project manager would be to build a project budget or a project plan. Soft skills are the things that cannot be taught. And I'm gonna tell you something, those things are the money shot, right? So soft skills are uniquely you, and they are the main value that you bring to the position. Because those technical skills, they can teach anybody. I can teach anybody how to build a project plan. I cannot teach just anybody how to be a servant leader. I cannot teach just anybody great communication skills. I cannot teach just anybody how to take initiative, right? So make sure in your resume, you are highlighting your soft skills as well as your technical skills. In fact, I personally lean more towards the soft skills. The next thing I would tell you to do is, when you are applying for jobs, don't just take one resume and spit it out to every job, right? Because they give you the game in the job posting. They tell you exactly what they're looking for. And you want to make sure that you're speaking about yourself the way they're speaking about the person they want to hire. And what I mean by that is, go through the job posting and make sure that any important keywords that are popping out, keywords that they've mentioned more than once, keywords that seem like if you were hiring for that role, this is the thing I would want to identify. I like that. Match their energy. If you were looking at the job posting and you were hiring for this role, which keywords would be the most important to you, right? And then take those and make sure you're updating your resume for those. You don't have to do that I'm gonna tell you something. I know that sounds like a lot. It should take you 5 minutes. Really, it should not take you forever. Just comb through the job posting and see, okay, so instead of budget, they're saying financials, right? I said that I take initiative, but they're leaning really heavy on the communication side. So let me make sure I update my resume to say that I'm a great communicator. You know what? I did not put in my resume that I am great at client relations, building client relationships, but they've mentioned that in this job posting 3 times. So let me drop that in my resume because it's true. I am, right? So make sure your job posting your resume is matching up with the job posting. And if you've done all of those things and you still are having challenges, here's what I'd say. It's time to call in a coach. It's time to call in somebody to help you, right? So maybe you want to ask someone to review your resume, pay for a resume update, pay for a resume refresh. And again, I'm going to drop a link to this post I made a long time ago, maybe several weeks ago, a few months ago, sharing some of the resume coaches that I like. All right. So those are that's my advice to you, Ronnie, to make your resume stand out. Again, I unfortunately don't have any advice when it comes to ageism. That is not something that I've researched. That's not something I'm very familiar with. I mean, I know it exists. I know that. But I don't know enough detail to give advice about that. Okay. All right. Next, in my travels, it's time for your question. I hope you're paying attention. I work in an amazing study abroad organization as university relations manager. My position is permanently remote. I'd like to know how I can negotiate better support. This is a very long thing, but basically I'm just going to get to what you're asking. You're asking to be able to negotiate something that you want. And I feel like I hit on this quite often when I talk about people who want to convince their employers to let them work remotely. Anytime you are trying to negotiate anything with anybody, you've got to do a few things. One, you've got to explain what's in it for them. So what you need to do is sit down and figure out what's in it for my employer, because you can't go to them saying, I want more support because I need XYZ. As much as companies love to say that they care about their employees, which they do, I'm sure, to some extent, they care the most about themselves. And honestly, for everybody, for any person, it is natural. Like, our natural inclination is to look out for ourselves first. Like, that's just how we're built, right? We care about ourselves first. Companies are no different. They care about themselves first. So you going to them saying, I want more support for visas, or I want more support for this because I feel, I think, they don't give a damn, boo. Nobody cares. Start with what is in it for them. That it's a phrase in business called with them. What's in it for me? Everyone is thinking, what's in this for me? So when you're making this proposal, and this is to anybody, if you're making a proposal for anything, I don't care what it is. If you want a raise, if you want a promotion, if you want to work remotely, if you want a flex schedule, if you want days off, if you want to change offices, if you want on a great project, your first thought is, how can I make this a win for them? All right. So figure out what's in it for them. That's the first thing. One, find out what are the pros. What did they get out of this? What did they get out of offering you that kind of support? And then two, think about, if someone was asking you this, what would make you say no? Right? What would make you say no? So that and what would your questions be? If someone was asking you, what questions would you have? Because you want to anticipate their questions and anticipate their rebuttals, right? Anticipate what they would be concerned about and go ahead and answer those questions. Have an answer already ready for those questions, right? So if they say, let's see, what did you ask for? I can negotiate better support, such as visa support, if I'd like to work abroad for 6 months. So my question to you would be, well, if I do this for you, what's going to be the cost, right? So come to them already knowing that, already knowing the answer. What is it going to cost me, right? What if other people ask for this? If I do this for you, I have to do it for everybody. So just think through, what questions would they ask you and what would they be concerned about if they do this for you? And go ahead and start answering those questions. Make it easy for them to say yes. Make it as easy as possible to say yes, right? Think about every reason they would say no and come up with a response or a rebuttal for that. All right, this is sales. Negotiations, it's all sales. When you're asking for something, every time we're asking for something, we're making a sale. All right, when we're asking for a job, promotion, raise, transfer, great project, let me work out of the country, it's all sales, right? So go ahead and anticipate what they would be concerned about and come up with rebuttals and come up with how you would address that. Think about their concerns and prepare yourself to address their concerns, right? And make them comfortable. Make it as easy as possible for them to say yes. And so I don't know how to answer specifically for your scenario, right? Because I haven't done any research on, visas, but this advice goes to wanting to negotiate or propose anything, right? You want to make sure that you are ready for their answers. The last thing I'll say is, well, this is really like a 5-part thing. But the other thing I'll say is you guys need to also be sure that you are more likely to get a yes when you're asking for something if you are valued. And it's what I like to call brand capital math, right? What is your brand capital at your company, right? How much do they value you? Are you included in decisions? Do they come to you to ask your advice? Do they give you projects to run with? Are you micromanaged? What did your last evaluation say? If you have a high brand capital, it's likely you're going to get whatever you want. It's likely you get, almost whatever you want within reason, of course, right? The higher your brand capital is, the higher probability it is you will say that you'll get a yes. And what I mean by brand capital is brand. Everyone's a brand, whether you're trying to be or not. Everyone is a brand. Every time you walk into the office, every time you log on to work, every time you interact, every time you turn in something, you are you are building your brand at work, right? Whether you want to or not. And your brand could be that this person is unremarkable. I don't think about this person ever. Your brand could be, damn, Libria always gets shit done. Your brand could be, damn, Libria has an attitude. Every time we ask her to do something, it's ugh. Or it could be she's always late, or it could be her work is sloppy. No matter what, you are a brand. Whether you want to be or not, friends, I promise you, you are a brand. Your name at work says something about you. When people say your name in a room, there is a thought or there is not a thought, which is also a brand, right? And brand capital means how much is that brand worth? How much can you use your brand name to buy you at work? How much can I use that to negotiate the things that I want at work? So an example is when I first started working at this company, before I accepted the offer, I asked if I could speak to the person that I would be reporting to. He and I used to work together at a previous company. Now, mind you, we've never been on a project together. We just both worked there. We wanted to work on projects together, but we just both worked there. And at the time, my company didn't have anybody that worked remotely. No one was working remotely at my company. And my first question to him was, do you care where I work? Do you care where I work? I'll come to the office from time to time, but do you care where I work? And he was like, you know what, Libria, I know you. I know your work ethic. I know how you get things done. And I know that you love to travel. I don't care where you work. Right? And that was all brand capital. My brand capital bought me freedom at the office. It bought me the flexibility to be able to work from anywhere. Again, I had never been on a project with this man. We just both worked in the same building, and he had heard about me. My brand was that I get things done. Also, I love to travel. And he knew that. And so my brand capital bought me that flexibility before I even walked in the door. So that's an example, right? And the higher your brand capital is, the more likely it is you'll get the things that you are asking for. Okay? So hopefully that helped you. That was a very long answer in my travels. Thank you for your patience, babe. I'm gonna give you a hard time about this. I am working towards project management certification. Can you provide any added resources to prepare for the test? That would be helpful. Added resources to prepare for the test. This is someone that is preparing for project management professional certification. I presume Sonia. No, not Sonia. Island Charles. She's preparing for the PMP. Good luck, my friend. Good luck to you. I will say this. I have not, I took that test. Oh my God, it's been like 10 years. I took that test so long ago. So I am out of the loop on what are the best resources right now. Here's what I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I did and I'll give you some options. How about that? And then you've got to decide what do you think is best for you. I did not take a class. It's going to depend on how you best learn. So I'm really good at self-study. I'm comfortable with self-study. I'm comfortable with doing things at my own pace. I also didn't want to pay for a class. I'll be completely honest with you. I did not want to pay for a class. So what I did was I bought that book. It's the most popular one. I think it's Rita's project management book. And I broke it down and I read a chapter every week and took notes and highlights. I read through the whole book one time. And then I went back and I would take tests and then go back and read through the things that I didn't understand. But I'm going to tell you what was major key for me. For Libria Jones, Libria F. Jones, don't ask me what the F stands for. I'm not going to tell you. What was key for me is I actually bought a question bank. I bought a question bank and I literally just took practice questions for like a month. For I think a month straight. I would just take practice questions over and over and over again, because what happens is you get very familiar with what questions they're asking you and what they're looking for. Because some of those questions, there's no right answer, but there's a best answer. And I'm going to tell you, they ask the same questions on the exam, just with different words and different scenarios. By the time I got to the test, I felt like I had already taken it. I felt like they were asking me the same questions that I had been taking. So, get a book. Again, what I did was I got a book, read the book, got familiar with the methodologies, the phrasing, all of the things, got familiar with all the things. But what was clutch was the practice exam. So read through a book and then do a question bank if you want to do it the way I did it. If you are a person that needs the accountability of a classroom, needs to be able to raise your hand and ask a professor questions, ask someone questions, I strongly recommend you take a class if that is what you need, right? The challenge is there's so many courses out there. And I'm so indecisive. That might have been one of the reasons why I didn't take a class, because I just didn't want to have to pick one. But I did take a class when it came to the Agile. I also have an Agile certification as well. I did take a class for that, but I took it because my employer paid for it. I think that's the only reason why I took that class. But yeah, I didn't want to pay for a class. The classes are very expensive. And so I read through the book basically kind of twice, basically. And I'll also say it took me forever to get my PMP. It took me because I didn't feel ready to take the test. So I kept pushing it off. But when I finally sat down, I went through the book. And then I took a question bank and literally I did questions on a daily basis, to the point where it's like a question could pop up and I could read the first sentence and know the answer. So that's my recommendation. That's what I did. But what I'd say is think about how you learn best. If you are comfortable holding yourself accountable and doing self-study, I think that's a great option. If not, please take a class. Good luck, though. The test isn't as hard as people like to think it is. You got this. I promise. Let me get some water. Man. Excuse me, guys. Okay. I love this question because this is almost like a game. This person posted, basically, I'm going to give you my skills and you tell me what kind of remote job you think I should have. So let's all play. You guys want to play with me? Let's do it. All right. So Sonia Jennings said, these are her skills. I like this. I feel like we should make this a thing. Her skills are customer service, sales, planning, collaboration, and problem solving. She likes family relationships, encouraging others, interiors, interior design, and food. If these were your skills and your interests, what direction would you go to find a remote career? All right, I'm gonna say it one more time so you guys can hear this. Her skills are customer service, sales, planning, collaboration, and problem solving. She likes family, she likes relationships, she likes encouraging others, she likes interiors, and she likes food. And if these were your skills, what direction would you go to find a remote career? I like this question. This is awesome. This is such a great way. I like this. We got to play this game. I want to make this a game. She could be a travel blogger or a food blogger. That's a nice one. That's a good one. So Sonia, someone said you should be a travel blogger or a food blogger. So I'd say project management. Is anybody surprised I said that? So here's why I said that. I said project management because the customer service, sales, planning, collaboration, and problem solving, literally all 5 of the skills that you listed are part of project management, right? So customer service, because whether you're an internal project manager or an external project manager, I'm an external, like I have external clients. So my clients are companies like, can't say their names. My clients are like retail companies and manufacturing companies. There's got to be some customer service when you're dealing with clients. Client relationships is all about customer service. And even if I were a project manager internally, like say I still worked at the Home Depot and I was a project manager, my client would be whoever I am working on this project for, right? Whatever part of the business I'm working on this project for. So if I were working on an IT project for the merchandising organization, then merchandising is my client. And so I really, really believe that project managers need to have customer service skills. That's client relationships. Client relationships and customer service are the same freaking thing to me. Collaboration, come on, man. That's all we do, right? I like to tell people that project managers don't have any real power. Our project teams do not report to us. We're not their boss. We're not their supervisor. Usually someone has put together a team and they've asked us to kind of oversee that team and help keep them organized. So we don't have any real power. They don't report to us. So the best way to be a leader in that scenario is to collaborate, to be a collaborator, to work with the people. And here's the other thing, like project managers, we don't really build shit. Like we don't create anything. We don't build anything. The people that are on the team are the ones that are building. So if you're a construction project manager, you're not building the house. You're not making the building. The people that you're managing and organizing do. If you work for technology, I don't write code. I don't develop anything. The people on my team do. And so my job is to collaborate with them to make sure they have everything that they need to do their job the best. So when you say collaboration, boom, back to project management. Planning, I mean, obviously project management. Sales. So my boss thinks I'm great at sales. I've not bought into that thought. But when I think about it, I am always trying to sell a recommendation, right? So if we've got a problem to solve, or we've got some options, I'm always in those meetings having these conversations like, well, these are our 3 options. Here's what I recommend and here's why. That's sales, right? I've got to convince you of how to go, of why you should go in this direction versus these other directions, right? So I think all of these are basically my skills in project management. But somebody else mentioned you could literally do sales, right? You could literally do sales. You could literally do customer service. Customer service is a great remote option. I mentioned at the top of this that my first 2 jobs my first 2 remote jobs were in customer service. I did customer service for Toys R Us, and then I did customer service for American Express. Great options. And problem solving. Project managers are always solving problems. So someone else mentioned virtual assistant. I think that's an excellent, excellent opportunity for you as well. And let me quickly plug my girl, Hannah Dixon of Digital Nomad Kit. Digital Nomad Kit is hosting a free course or free challenge teaching people how to build virtual assistant businesses. And I think it starts this weekend, I want to say, or it starts next week. I think it starts next week, but it's completely free. I will put a link to it in the description also. All right. Thank you for posting that question, Sonia. Just gave me an idea and I love it. And thank you everybody for weighing in. Thank you guys for weighing in. Someone says they were laid off this year from their job in finance, life insurance. I'm trying to pivot to something more rewarding. Skills and experience of managerial, business analyst, customer service, and project management. My passions are wellness, travel writing, interior design. Are y'all cousins? Are y'all like sisters? You guys have the same makeup. I'm a blogger and part owner of a small wellness company. Any suggestion on the best way to pivot and not seem all over the place? This was suggested by a career person to not have several past resumes. Yeah, I think say yes more. I love your name, first of all. Say yes more. I think it's great that you kind of understand what your skills and experience are. Um, so you said some project management not certified. I want to say this again. You don't have to be certified in order to get into project management. Okay. I work with project managers who are not certified as project managers. I just want to throw that out there. Hey. So your skills and experience are very broad. Business analyst, being a business analyst or a project manager are some of the easiest ways to get into remote work. Some of the easiest ways. So really, Stephanie, for you, it's going to be honing in on what elements of the work that you've listed you like the most. What do you enjoy doing the most? And you've mentioned wellness at least 3 times in your statement. So I'm going to tell you, I posted a blog post on Monday with 100 plus non-tech remote jobs in technical companies. And one of them was Calm. Calm is a wellness company, and they are hiring a lot. They work completely remotely. So first thing first, I would encourage you to go to Calm's website or go to my blog and look at the job postings. I didn't post all of their open roles. I just posted, I think, 25 of them, and they still had way more than that. So go look at Calm. If you know what I'm talking about, it's the app that people use to meditate. They're growing like crazy and they're hiring like crazy. So go to Calm's website since you're really into wellness. I think that's a great space for you. And then kind of look through their job postings, right? And you've plucked out a few things, being a manager. So I feel like you're basically saying this is general in operations, a business analyst, which we call a BA, and project management and customer service / customer success. They actually have roles in all of those. So what I challenge you to do is go to Calm's website, right? Look at those roles and look at those job descriptions and figure out which ones seem most interesting to you, right? Once you do that, I'd say apply for some jobs, but I'd also say start looking across other wellness companies or companies that touch wellness that have similar roles, and then kind of build out a profile for what is your ideal type of job so you can get clear on what is it I'm looking for, right? But I say start at Calm, go to calm.com/careers, I think, or Google Calm careers. Listen, you said wellness a bunch of times, so I'm pushing you to Calm because they're a wellness company. They're doing great things in the market. They're growing like crazy, and they're hiring like freaking mad right now. So go check that out. And you've got a lot of very marketable skills. So really, it's just going to be you looking at those job postings and seeing which ones sound most interesting. And the great thing is that if you worked at a place like Calm, because they have job postings in multiple areas that you're experienced in, it's an opportunity for you to kind of move around and try different things too. So if you were working there. Thank you for that, guys. All right. 37 minutes. I got y'all stay keeping me longer than I said I was going to stay. Okay, I'm going to answer a couple of questions on here. I'm done with all the Instagram questions. I don't want to make these long. All right. I'm scrolling back to the top, so you guys are going to have to see my forehead for a second. I've worked remotely for 5 years for a hospital, but looking for a remote international position so I can travel the world. Love that. So, Lynette, you don't need a remote international position. You need a position that just doesn't care where you work. Is what I would say. You just need to go to some of the job boards that I've shared, and when you're filtering, filter for anywhere. The job boards that I post are not specific to any location. They're not specific to any vocation. Location of vocation, not specific to any of those. So you just need to start filtering for work from anywhere types of positions. Hopefully you've downloaded the free guide. And if you have the Remote Ready bundle, which is the mini course that I have, it has a list of 75 places to find remote work. And that first section, I think, is about 10 to 15 job boards. And again, those job boards are pretty agnostic. They're pretty, broad across a number of types of remote work, right? So you just got to filter for what you're looking for. I don't want to be tied down to the US. Any suggestions? Alicia just mentioned this. Just make sure when you're looking at the job boards and you're doing your searches, you include anywhere in those filters. I am struggling to get a job as a project manager for an interior design firm. Ashley, that is so specific. You specifically want to be a project manager for an interior design firm. A couple things I would recommend that you do is one, why don't you start reaching out to some interior designers who are small business owners and offer your project management services on the side as a freelancer so that you can start to build your portfolio as a project manager for interior design, right? Super easy to find interior designers on Instagram. Interior designers tend to be creatives, so they're probably not that organized. And just offer to kind of help them build out their schedules, monitor their open projects, try to do that as a freelancer so that you can start to build your portfolio. So when you're going to these interior design firms, you've got some experience in the backlog if you don't have that already. I'm assuming that you don't. The other thing I'd say is, why don't you look into some interior design firm, look into getting into interior design firms through another route, right? Perhaps they're not looking for project managers right now, or perhaps they're looking for somebody with more experience. But what if you were able to get in as their, executive assistant or virtual assistant, or, something else to get your foot in the door and start to show interest and start to take initiative as a project manager and work your way up that way. But I'd say that is super specific. Love that you know exactly what you want to do, but you may want to get creative with how you approach it. Prior to our agency-wide title change, we were classified as project manager because we manage social services. Okay, awesome. How transferable are my skills? Could I use this as extensive experience? Project management skills are very transferable. I mean, I don't care what your title is. I don't care what your title is, guys. What work did you do, right? Your skills and the actual work you did is what you're transferring from job to job. You're not transferring your title. Unless your goal is to move up in title. I think your title only really matters if you're trying to move up. Also, you can put whatever you want on a resume. Even if your title changed, you could put that title / project management. It's your resume. You can put whatever you want. I feel like I'm asking a question you're already talking about, so I'll wait for the replay. Thank you. Scrolling. Believing, that's my biggest confusion, believing I need those courses to get my PMP from the PMI. No, you don't need a course. You just need to take the test. You may need a course, Ro. It depends on you and how you learn. If you go and do self-study and you find that you're not sticking to it, you're not holding yourself accountable, you're pushing things off, you're not on a study schedule, you're not sticking to anything, then maybe you need the accountability of a course. You might, right? But you're just going to have to be honest with yourself about what you might need. Let's see. Yeah, y'all should connect. Sonia, you and Stephanie need to connect. You guys have similar desires and backgrounds. Oh, that's it. I got all the questions. Yay! I did all the questions in 42 minutes. Maybe I just need to make this thing 45 minutes. This was a lot of fun. You guys asked excellent questions. You always do. You always ask excellent questions. Don't you need X hours of coursework to qualify to take the PMP exam? Nah. Girl, it's been so long since I took that Talon test. You do need X hours of experience. That I know for sure. Coursework, you don't necessarily have to pay for courses, right? You can talk about some of the things that you learned in college. So for instance, I have a degree, my undergrad is in business management, right? So I use a lot of that. And then the other thing I'd say is a lot of people don't realize that their job has project management experience. I posted last week some examples of project management experience that you can use for the PMP as well. Just be very, very clear that a lot of roles do have project management activities in them. You just don't realize it because they didn't call you a project management manager because your title wasn't that. But I don't remember how many hours you need to qualify for the PMP for a couple of reasons. One, I have not taken that test in a very long time. I think it's been over 10 years for me. Two, I'm not teaching people or training people how to become project managers. So I'm not up to date on it. I think I'm not up to date on it. What would you recommend for people further along in their career making a career change? I think, I made a career change. I don't know where in my career I was, but I don't think it matters where you are in your career. If you're making a career change, what you've got to do is kind of figure out what in your existing career is transferable, right? What have you done up to this point that is transferable, right? The other thing I always tell people to do is kind of identify a profile. Look at 3 jobs in the role that you want to move into. Look at 3 like dream jobs. These are jobs I would love to have. And then build a profile. What's consistent across those? What are the skills and the experience that they're looking for across these? And what are the job descriptions? What are the same types of work that they'll be doing, right? And use that to kind of build a profile and identify what of those things that you have, like, write them down, take a highlighter, highlight in pink the things that you have already, and highlight in yellow the things that you need to get, and then figure out how to go get them, right? If that's take a course, if that's get on Udemy, Coursera, Lynda, whatever, get some experience. If that's freelancing for a little while so that you can get some experience, whatever the case may be, that's an option as well. That's what I would do to make a career change. That's pretty much what I did. What advice do you have for a recent graduate? There's a blog post. I'm actually about to go. I got to go cook dinner. There's actually a blog post specifically for recent grads, and I'm going to drop that in the description. Actually, let me see if I can drop it in the comments. But I made a blog post specifically for recent grads, like in June, because my daughter graduated. By the way, congratulations if you are a recent grad, Natural Sisterhood. Congrats to you, friends. 5 tips for recent grads seeking remote jobs. Here you go, baby. All right, I will put that in the description as well. You know what? Thank you guys. I appreciate you thanking me for my time. Thank you for your time. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. Thanks for asking great questions. And I will see y'all next Tuesday. All right? Bye.